This show is part of the HeadStuff Podcast Network. This is how it's always been. I'm on the outside looking in.
Welcome to Double Love, the podcast in which we explore the strange and terrifying world of Sweet Valley High, book by book. I'm Anna Gary.
I'm Karen Moynihan.
And it's a whole new book. And my God, we are going to spend way more of it on Devon Whitelaw than we would have thought possible. Sadly, it turns out that what is possible is way too fucking much.
We really stick with him quite a lot. I suppose in the last book, it was kind of the occasional jump back to what's he doing in Ohio now. We're really sticking closely to him in this book, unfortunately. So, I'm afraid we just all have to deal with that.
Well, we will start out because this is a whole new book. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I should have made that clear. It is too hot to handle.
Incredible.
Who is too hot to handle, I wonder? Is it meant to be Dylan Whitelaw, as I keep calling him again?
That's just his name now.
I mean, do you know what? It is. It's all he deserves. Yeah. It became his name in the TV series because I kept referring to him as that, and I'm afraid it's going to stick again. It's all about him. Is he too hot to handle? Is Lila too hot to handle? Is D.A. Joe Garrison, that unprofessional freak, is he too hot to handle?
I mean, it probably should be Garrison, because what is that man doing? How does he have this job? Like, what is going on in that office?
So many questions, none of which will be answered. But we will start out with the tagline and blurb. Karen, can you share the tagline, please?
Oh, with pleasure. Now, I feel like this tagline is getting slightly ahead of itself, but it does say, "Look out, Sweet Valley, a new bad boy is heading your way."
No, seemingly not for quite some time.
No, it's going to take a while. He's very slowly making his way across the country.
And I will say, we'll go into this more, his approach to travel, baffling.
Absolutely. Deranged, you might say.
You might. But first, the full blurb. Now, I have not read it properly until now, so I'll be as surprised as you were. Let's hope it's nice and spoilery. Cool. I'll be the judge of that. Yep. Brilliant, if you say so. And intensely handsome. Okay. Devon Whitelaw had a perfect life. No, he didn't.
God, he never shuts up about how imperfect his life is.
Absolutely not perfect at all. But his parents died in a senseless accident, leaving him totally alone. He didn't care about them.
No, he doesn't give a shit about his parents, man.
He heads west to find someone who cares about more than just his money. It feels more that, like, that's just, it's because he has to. He'd rather not find anybody.
That is the legal stipulation for him to get his money. So really, that's all he cares about.
This is making him sound a lot more sympathetic than he actually is.
Yeah.
So yes, he heads west to find someone who cares about more than just his money. Is the love he so desperately needs waiting for him in California? I mean, maybe, but he's not going to get there in this book, as far as I can see. Stephen Wakefield's romance with Lila Fowler is starting to sizzle. But as he investigates her arson case, Stephen finds more proof that she torched Fowler Crest. Really? Okay.
I mean, look, not in this half of the book anyway.
Well, yeah, maybe the second half. It's getting very hard to believe Lila, even though she insists she was framed. Just as he's about to break his own heart and turn her in, Stephen discovers evidence that could brand someone else as the real suspect. Someone who's haunted Lila's nightmares for a long, long time.
Oh my God.
Now, I mean, based on the first half, this isn't entirely accurate because, like, in this half, he's not finding more evidence against her.
No.
And he's actually is starting to suspect somebody else. So.
Yeah, it's a weird one. And again, we've only done half the book, so maybe things will become clear when we get to finish it out.
But I wouldn't trust, It's already inaccurate.
We can never trust the blurb. We know that.
Well, can we trust the cover? It's unusually boring for this new era.
I know. Like, we've been having such an amazing run of these photograph covers with the cast and like new people being brought in who we haven't seen before, you know, people who weren't in the TV show.
Yes.
But this we have questions about this one. So look, it's not a particularly exciting cover. It is Devon Whitelaw against a red brick wall background. You know, he's wearing his brown leather jacket, which is accurate to the last book, at least. He's wearing a black leather jacket in this one. So I guess he's either switched him out or the brown one's having a little break.
Oh, maybe.
But what's interesting is that this is not the Devon from the TV show.
No, it's not. So yeah, we already had a Devon, and this is not he. This is a stranger.
Yeah, it's a bit confusing because, like, we've now gotten used to seeing the twins, the Daniel girls, or Lila 2.0, Shirley Elliott. But things are a bit mixed up now in terms of the timelines. Because I think this book is December 97, and it was like September 97 when the episodes with Devon on the TV show were out. So we're not sure what was going on there, or maybe just these covers have been planned ahead of time. But either way, this is not the Devon that we got used to. I was going to say that we know and love, but he earned it eventually, I feel. It was nice when he was part of the gang at the very end, but God, it just took too long to get there.
It did. And also the actor had charm. I can tell you, the Dylan on the page, or Devon, whatever, he has no charm at all. He is terrible from beginning to end, and I hate him.
He really is the worst.
Genuinely. Well, that's all we can say about the cover. Sorry, Cressida, it's just going to have to be Troy from High School Musical, just with a leather jacket on. That's literally all you can do.
Zac Efron. Yeah. He's going to have to carry this one all on his own.
Not even any props.
No.
Or proper backdrop. Anyway, I guess you can't win them all. So we begin exactly where we left off. The twins are standing at the door of the kitchen. They're practically in the kitchen. They are talking, and yet Lila and Stephen just keep on snogging.
It's very like they are fully just having a conversation in the kitchen at this point. And somehow Lila and Stephen have not noticed. But I think, Liz eventually drags Jessica out of the kitchen while they're standing there horrified. And she kind of hooshes her upstairs, basically, so they can talk about it. But they're both absolutely disgusted by the scene that they have come upon.
They have. Liz thinks it's like a scene from a horrible soap opera, except that it's real. You want to read about a horrible soap opera? I can tell you, Love Scene by Anna Carey is out now. Please read it and give it 5 stars in the location of your choice. But we get a whole recap of the fire. God, they're still staring at them. This is going on for ages because we're told Elizabeth caught herself staring at Lila's arms, which were wrapped around Stephen's neck like 2 flesh-toned snakes. How creepy, Elizabeth thought. Shuddering.
I mean, sorry now, Liz, you're the one who's creepy. You're standing there watching your brother shifting Lila Fowler. Like, get out.
For a very long time. So she looks at Jessica, and Jessica is so angry that like her nostrils are flaring, her eyes are glimmering, and that's when Liz realizes that the soap opera scene will turn into a low-budget horror flick if Jessica explodes. So that's when she drags her away. And we cut to Lila's point of view. Hasn't noticed a thing with these two whispering and gawping like a foot away from her.
She is so lost in the moment that she's absolutely unaware as to what's going on around her. But we're kind of recapped on Lila's recent trauma, and basically she feels safe with Stephen, and she's just kind of happy that she has someone because she's been feeling really alone and kind of feels like he's the only one who's been there for her. So she's just really lost in the kiss.
There's a lot about that in the book that's sort of repeated. Like, she wants to feel safe. She feels safe with Stephen. You make me feel safe. Like, it's so much filler. I feel this is a bit retconny. We're told that like George and Grace are having a second honeymoon, and that since they remarried, they've taken several so-called second honeymoons. This could be their 4th or their 1st, or 4th or their 5th. And it sort of implied they're super neglectful. And really, when they got together, the whole vibe was going to be like, and now they're going to, they both neglected Lila, but now they're going to be there for her. So that is a bit unfair to George and Grace. It's not what was being set up before.
No, because it was, when Grace was back in the fold, it was very much, we're a family again. And, Lila was happier. Grace was glad to be back. Like it was all kind of ironed out. But maybe, no, this does feel a bit retconny because I mean, the fact that, it does sound like they've abandoned Lila and that kind of wasn't the vibe after the wedding.
No, definitely not. Well, speaking of vibes, I'm not going to, I don't want to spoil an outfit, but I think it has to be mentioned that as part of their sort of tender moment, Lila brushes her hands over the top edge of Stephen's grey wool vest. He is wearing a wool waistcoat.
It's amazing, but like that's exactly what he's wearing on the cover of the last book.
So he is.
But it's just so funny. It's like, oh, we're having this sexy moment, and he's in his finest Chandler Bing cosplay. Stephen, why are you wearing a wool fucking vest or like whatever sleeveless sweatshirt situation is going on here? It's not hot.
Really isn't. So Stephen assures her that everything's going to be all right, and we get a full recap of, Lila breaking up with Beau, burning the letters, the fire, but she's sure that Stephen is going to get to the bottom of this terrifying mystery and make me feel safe again. And they lose each other, or they lose themselves in another deep, searing kiss. Mm-hmm. And then we go to Jessica literally kicking her way across the filthy pit that is her boudoir.
This is such a hilarious image because it's meant to be Jessica like angrily pacing in her room because she's so furious about what she's seen, but she literally has to kick bags of clothes and piles of laundry around the place to actually make a path for herself. And it's just a very funny visual of her just booting stuff around her room so she can pace properly.
Just kicking stuff.
I'm just picturing shopping bags flying past Liz's head and just trying to talk.
Clanky old clothes. So Jessica is enraged and says that Lila and I are so close, we're practically related. It's like your brother going out with your cousin or something. And isn't that illegal? This is like, they're not cousins. But her objection is that they're just too different. Because Stephen's a burgers and baseball kind of guy. And Lila's caviar and Concord. Like, why are they acting like Stephen is some sort of salt of the earth working class hero when he's like the bougie son of a lawyer and an interior decorator who's going to be a lawyer himself?
It is very funny, but like, yeah, they're both quite infuriated by all of this. Jessica feels like she's been betrayed because she tried so hard to cheer Lila up and this is the thanks that she gets. Like, it's really ridiculous. They've both had this huge reaction to this thing that is really none of their business.
Yes. But to my amazement, so I can't believe this because there's a bit where Jessica wants to march downstairs and confront them, but Liz quite sensibly says, look, if we put pressure on them, that'll, they're both stubborn. They'll both be like, well, screw you. We're going to stay together out of spite. So, any breakup has to come from them themselves. And then to my amazement, they actually acknowledge Kara fucking Walker.
Did not expect this at all. Apparently Jessica recalled how angry Stephen had been when she tried to fix him up with Kara Walker because he just doesn't like them interfering in his love life, which obviously fair. But we get a little recap that he and Kara did actually date for a while and they only broke up because Kara had moved to London. And my notes here just say Kara lives, but did at least. Maybe she's dead now.
I mean, exactly. There's no proof of life, so... But actually, this is what's so mad about. They bring this up and they don't really square the contradiction in the fact that Jessica, like literally later on, you might be expecting maybe they'll have a big reason why this is different, but they don't. It's literally just later on, it's like Kara wasn't as rich. Whereas here it's implied that the fact of Stephen going out with one of Jessica's friends is like incestuous. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a weird... It's weird that they even mentioned Kara at all because it just makes you think, well, why wasn't that a problem?
What's the issue? Is it that it's your friend or is it that they're wrong for each other? Like they're kind of pretending like it's all these reasons, but it's not really this at all.
No. So yeah, don't expect any logic there. But I guess it's just nice to see Cara mentioned for the first time in a very, very long time.
It's been so long. I was glad to see her name, yeah.
Well, we cut to Devon and we learn that he has inexplicably, and it is inexplicable, there is literally no reason for this, he has driven through the night to St. Louis. Or St. Louis? Do they call it St. Louis? But apparently he kept himself awake by doing math problems in his head. No reason for him to have gone all night. Literally none. He could have driven out of Ohio and gone and found a motel or a hotel and stayed in it. No.
Yeah.
So we get a recap of his stupid backstory. Unlike the blurb, it does acknowledge that his parents were kind of terrible.
Yeah, exactly. That he doesn't give a shit about them.
We're also told, even in death, James Allen Whitelaw III had managed to keep his son on a leash. His will provided Devon with a $20 million trust fund, but the stipulation that he live with a legal guardian until he reaches 21 years of age. I mean, legally, he'd have to live with a guardian for a year anyway.
Surely.
So this keeps being presented like, they're like thwarting me by 20 million.
Yeah, like it's this huge injustice. It's like, you're 17. Shut up.
That at least the old man is letting me pick my own guardian. I mean, even that's legally dubious. I would have thought that like somebody would have to take responsibility for you. Like, where's the legal?
That somebody would have been like appointed to be his guardian, or that his dad would have even picked somebody. Like, none of this makes any sense.
No, none. So just a reminder of his stupid tragic backstory and how his Ohio relatives were just like after his money. We are told that their sons Ross and Alan had turned into whiny, spoiled brats. They hadn't really. That's a bit harsh on them.
They got a bit carried away with the motorbikes and mountain bikes and all, but like in general, they were just normal kids.
Yeah. So, I mean, God, I'd much prefer either of them to fucking Devon because he finds the Serenity rest stop and smirks at this hilarious name. He smirks all the time. He's always smirking and chuckling, and it makes me hate him all the more.
He is so smug and self-satisfied. Like, he is a truly infuriating character. And again, it's like on paper, orphaned 17-year-old who's been screwed over by relatives, and it's just impossible to like him. Like, it's actually kind of impressive.
Well, the following scene, like, I cannot believe this is the first scene they give him, where he is such a massive prick. That I'm like, this is who you want the reader to sympathize with. What is happening? Because he finds there's a nice older lady behind the counter. It's like the middle of the night, basically, and he just walks in and is astonishingly rude to her, to the extent that when she has to answer the phone when he's trying to book a room, he resents being made to wait. And then he gets ruder.
He's so rude to this woman. Like, he doesn't say hello. He's just like, I want a room. And then like she takes this phone call. He's getting really angry about it. And she's like, oh, sorry about that. Now, where were we? And he's just like, I need a room. And she just wants to know, like, okay, so like how many nights do you need to stay? And he's just like, no nights. I just need a few hours sleep. I'll be out of here by noon. And she quite apologetically is like, well, okay, check-in isn't actually until 1:00, but you could try the Holiday Inn at the next exit. And Devon flips his fucking lid because he's just an absolute asshole. And he just starts giving out to this poor woman. He's like, listen, lady, I've been on the road since yesterday. If I thought I could make it as far as the next exit, I wouldn't have stopped at this dump in the first place. Either find me a room now or let me speak with the manager.
Fuck you, Devon. I hate you. I hate him.
Rick, I can't believe they put this scene in. It's like, guys, we already hated him. You didn't need to add this in because, like, it's so unnecessary. He's so horrible. And we're so horrible. We're supposed to like this guy or have some kind of sympathy for him. Like, what is going on?
He is obnoxious to a nice older woman who was working the night shift in a motel. And thank God she actually, like, turns on him, her eyes suddenly wide and suddenly fierce, and says, I don't know who you think you are, but you can just turn around and waltz yourself out of my motel. I don't rent rooms to spoiled brats like you. And he's like, oh, I guess I deserve that. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be so rude. It's just that I was up all night. And I love that she just says, so was I, and interrupts him.
God. Amazing.
She is
love
a
this
queen.
Woman. She is fantastic. I also just wanted to beat the shit out of him, but we
Throw
don't need to go
phone.
that yeah. But he at least feels ashamed about what an absolute prick he was to this woman, and he kind of like is chiding himself and apologizes again properly. She just gives him this like long pointed look and says nothing, so he just kind of shuffles off out. And I'm like, good for you. But she does relent, unfortunately.
So she's like, oh, the housekeeping staff come in at 6, so there'll be a room then if you care to wait. And he doesn't say, thank you so much. He just like says, I'll take it.
Oh,
and
the worst.
And he sits on the lumpy couch, and then she brings him like a muffin and some orange juice. And it makes him feel like her brusque manner makes him feel like a 5-year-old kid. And then he chuckles like an absolute freak because she reminds him of Nana Johnston. We get way too much detail about Nana Johnston.
Oh God,
unless Nana Johnston's going to play a key role later on. We did not need this.
Who knows? Maybe she set fire to Failure Crest. Because, I don't know why they're telling us so much about her. She's this nanny that he had growing up. He gets all kind of wistful and nostalgic about Nana because she was great. She was kind of strict with him, but, it's what he needed. And she always knew when he was up to mischief. She wasn't easily fooled by an innocent expression. So, that she'd kind of, she'd really talk to him, and she'd make cupcakes for his birthday and all this kind of thing. And he'd fantasize that she was his real mom, but she wasn't, of course. And then he gets really like bitter and resentful because in the end, Nana had turned out to be just like the rest of the strangers that had passed through his life. She'd left his parents' employment in Devon, had never seen her again. And he's really angry about this. And it's like, wow, how dare she probably take another job somewhere else?
I'd say she was glad to see the back of him. I know I would have been.
Truly. But it's just like Nana had been paid wages to spend time with him. So
yes!
Like, she's just like all the others. And it's like, yeah, because that was her job, dude.
Oh my God. So he's that his days of being used are over, and he doesn't know what to expect in Las Vegas. He doesn't even know if his Uncle Pete still lives there. Like, that is the lawyer's job to find out. Because he left home years ago. He'd been cut out of the family will, and gossip said that he was a card shark, a loan shark, and a shark with the ladies. What weird family gossip for a child to hear.
So funny. But so Devon, again, smirks to himself. Like,
why?
I just want to punch him in the fucking face every time we meet him. But he kind of thinks how, he'd tried to find a home with people he thought were good and upstanding and had been disappointed. So maybe he'd have better luck with the black sheep of the family.
Well, we got to the most unprofessional DA's office in the country, where Stephen is looking at the computer printout of the web page with the psychological profile of an arsonist.
Oh my God. Yes, this was, of course, mysteriously dropped into his inbox on his desk. And apparently all it's a checklist, basically, for arsonists and the kind of behavior they display. And Lila ticks all the boxes. This is proof.
The funniest is the fascinated by fire paraphernalia, because he just remembers her like lighting the candle on their table in the fancy restaurant, and then how she took a matchbook as they left to collect new memories. And he's like, well, all her mementos and stuff were destroyed. She's trying to create, gather new ones. But then he's like, but why matches? There was also a stock of postcards. She could have taken them instead. And then thinks the case was turning out to be a labyrinth of clues, which all led to Lila Fowler. They fucking don't.
They really and truly do not, Stephen. You're just very bad at this.
Well, I mean, so is everybody involved. Yeah, so, because then he gets his notebook out and he does the old pro and con columns, except it's guilty and not guilty. And literally everything is circumstantial. So we've got like the can of gasoline in Lila's car. There's the gloves. But again, they could all have been planted. There's no DNA evidence or anything like that. That was a thing at this stage.
Yeah.
And then there's like the web page information.
It's conclusive. So all he's really got for the other column is vibes, basically, because Lila kind of felt like she was being watched when she was in school. She felt like somebody was in Fowler Crest the evening that they found those gloves in the bushes. Like, Lila just has this creepy feeling that somebody is stalking her, basically. And yeah, like, that's kind of all they've got for the not guilty side of things on his little list, at least. But then he's called into the office of the DA, Joe Garrison.
Joe Garrison. My God. So, yeah, we're told he knew his boss expected him to help pin the fire on Lila. What sort of DA's office is this? Like, this is disgraceful. That's how it's meant to work. You're meant to find out who did it, not like, well, we've got a suspect, now we just got to frame her or find evidence. Like, you've done no proper investigating.
None. Like, it's so funny that Joe Garrison is like, well, this is unaccompanied minor whose house burned down. Let's do everything we can to pin it on her. Like, that is basically his whole deal. And it is so funny.
So Joe Garrison has a meeting with the mayor in 20 minutes. Look, that's going to go. And before he goes, he wants an update on the Fowler case. And Stephen wants to, like, sort of do a closer look. I mean, we're going to have to just get over the fact that Stephen is doing any of this at all, considering he's a teenager.
Oh, it's so ridiculous.
This is the police's job. Anyway, yeah, he wants to have a closer look at the employee records for Fowler Industries, do a background check on anyone who's been fired, disciplinary charges. This is all sensible. Like, the cops should be doing this. This
is the thing. He's actually, I hate to say it, he's like, this is a good idea. This is what he should be. Well, it's not what he should be doing, but it's what someone should be doing.
But Mr. Garrison is like, we have our suspect. All we need now is motive. Without it, our case against Lila Fowler is weak. Yeah, it is weak. Yeah. You lunatics.
You don't have a case, you absolute maniac. What are you doing?
And Garrison gets sort of angry and is like, you're supposed to be figuring out exactly why she set that fire, as opposed to finding out who set the fire. What have you been doing instead? And of course, Stephen flushes as he thinks of that Lila's guilty of setting a fire, all right, but not the kind you think. I guess it's a fire in his pants, if you know what I mean, and I think you do.
Gonorrhea.
Burn in love, indeed.
That's too hot to handle.
I'll bet it is.
Oh, God. Oh, it's so early in the book for this.
Sorry, I've been broken. Oh my God.
Okay.
Gather.
Yes.
So yeah, Mr. Garrison says he's disappointed because he expected high quality work from you. What, the fucking teenage intern? Because I thought you were serious about this internship. And Stephen is like, I just don't think Lila is the kind of girl who'd do this. And Garrison lists, the gas can, the gloves, but he says anyone could have planted that evidence. True. Mm-hmm. Just the matches, and like, that's literally all Garrison has. But then says this is an open and shut case. He spoke slowly, pronouncing each word clearly, as if he were speaking to a not so bright child. We work as a team in this office, and our goal is to put criminals behind bars. You can be part of the team, or you can leave right now. It basically says it's their job. He literally says it's their job to prove Lila guilty.
Yeah, it's so weird. Yeah, he's just like, we don't have time for wild goose chases around here. The facts are what matter. It's like, yeah, dude, you don't have any facts. You have circumstantial evidence and vibes. Like, this is so stupid. Because he's just like, she is guilty. It's our job to prove it. That's not your fucking job. No. But again, Stephen just can't believe that Lila would really have done this. But he's also like, but am I fooling myself? Like, he's just constantly going over and back on these two ideas. But then, of course, Garrison starts to get suspicious. He's like, you don't have, shall we say, a personal interest in this case, do you, Wakefield? And he starts kind of interrogating him basically about, are you shifting Lila Fowler?
Yes.
So, yeah, it's all like, obviously, Stephen's very uncomfortable with this. And, Garrison is like, you wouldn't be the first guy to get sucked in by a pretty face and a sweet smile. But Stephen insists that's not what's happening and that he just wants to find the person who started the fire. Again, this kind of goes on for ages, but again, Garrison is just like, we found her. It's our job to see that justice is done. Like, you're so bad at this, Garrison.
Oh my God.
I'm just not convinced he's not like three kids in a trench coat. Just still, like, there's just no way this is an actual DA.
I know. Well, I mean, where were the police? Seriously. So many questions. Anyway, we cut to Sweet Valley High, where Jessica is sickened by a love-struck Lila, who keeps thinking, how could Lila even do this to me? Which is a very Jessica reaction, I have to say, to make it all about her.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
So Lila is just drawing hearts all over her page instead of listening to Mr. Jaworski talk about the Louisiana Purchase. And when the class finally ends, Jessica drags Lila into an empty classroom. And Lila's like, hey, what's wrong? And Jessica hisses, you and Stephen, that's what's wrong. But Lila looks genuinely upset.
Yeah, like as she points out, it's not a crime to go out with your best friend's brother. And she kind of says, look, I felt weird about telling you. But then Jessica's like, yeah, but what you're doing is plenty weird. But yeah, like Lila is, she's in a vulnerable place. Yeah. Like she also
brings up Cara there.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, because she says you didn't react this way when Stephen was going out with Cara. And Jessica insists that's different because she and Stephen had a lot in common. But like, no, this doesn't make any sense.
Nothing.
That she's this wound up, but she just insists that Stephen and Lila are completely wrong for each other. And Lila just says, well, I don't agree. And I have a strong feeling that Stephen wouldn't agree with you either. And
I do actually kind of love this bit. So she starts trying to sort of make Lila see sense. And she's like, wouldn't you rather have a BMW guy or a VW one? Because Stephen loves his junky yellow bug. And Lila's like, I don't mind. It's very much the end of Some Like It Hot.
Oh my God, it is.
Like, I can't have children. We'll adopt.
We'll adapt.
So Jessica says, do you want a guy who snacks on pate and caviar or potato chips and onion dip? But Lila's like, good old onion dip.
Onion dip, it's been a while.
So she says he's a refreshing change and he didn't do too badly at Shea Costa. Oysters have become one of his favourite appetizers. And then she's like, Stephen wears mismatched socks with holes. And she says, I know. We've gotten past the shoes off stage.
Lila, you whore.
Seriously, I am like, to me, that is like on a bed. In a bed.
It's so funny because with all the making out that the Wakefields do with their boyfriends, this just feels like it's kind of different, doesn't it?
Yes.
She's off stage. Like, this just sounds a bit saucier than we are used to with Sweet Valley High.
Yeah, because it's not implied we were past the shoes off stage because I have a shoes off household in my pool house. And no, it is like, it's like third base or whatever. It's like, it's...
It's like when the twins are making out with their boyfriends, it's like feet are on the ground at all times.
Yep. It's like Hays Code rules. Yeah. Twin beds.
So this really struck me as a very unsweet Valley High kind of turn of phrase.
Yeah. So, but anyway, Jessica persists, and I did find this enjoyable because he's like, that blue sweater he wears, he bought it at a yard sale, and I've seen him eat cold chili straight out of the can. And Lana's like, oh, that's kind of cute. And then she decides to play her trump card, and I did love the trump card.
Oh God, yeah. So Jessica reveals that one time she walked in on him and his friends having a burping contest. Where they were guzzling bottles of root beer to make themselves burp. And Stephen burst out laughing at one point, and all the root beer came out of his mouth and nose, and he was declared the winner. And she's like, is that the kind of guy you want in your life, Lila? But at this point, Lila's just getting annoyed now with Jessica. And she's like, well, thanks for all your support. And points out that, look, she's been going through a lot at the minute. Her house is burnt down. She's lost everything. Stephen's actually there for her when she needs him, which is more than I can say for you right now. And Jessica's really kind of defensive here. She's like, I've been there for you from the very beginning. I helped you put together a new wardrobe. And Lila's like, I don't need new clothes right now. But yeah, Jessica does kind of feel bad for Lila. And she's like, look, I want to be your friend, but until you get over my brother, you can count me out. And then
Jessica, come on. This is crazy.
It's so unfair. Because then Lila obviously is just like, fine, and stomps out of the bathroom and is like, I don't need you anyway, or whatever room they're in. But so they just kind of end up having a row about it in the end. But yeah, so it all just blows up in Jessica's face.
It does. Then we cut to, as my notes say, Dickhead Devon mumbling home sweet home. We learn that for no reason at all, literally none, he has been depriving himself of sleep the whole time. Because we're told, although he'd stopped to rest during the grueling trip from Ohio, he'd rarely gotten more than 2 or 3 hours of sleep at a time. Why?
There's no need for this. He's so grouchy, and it's like, this is all your own fucking doing, Devon. do it like a normal person.
We're told he hasn't had a shower, as far as I can see, because we're told he's been living on vending machine food and sour coffee for days. Absolutely no reason for this. So the idea of a hot shower, some takeout Chinese food, and a night's sleep seems incredibly appealing, and he can wait till morning to start searching for his uncle. But he doesn't do any of those things. There's like no reason for this. It's so stupid. Like it's what are they trying to say here?
I don't know. But like, yeah, he's just kind of making everything really difficult for himself. But he just kind of has this restless feeling that he's just going to keep going into the city because he just wants to get settled somewhere. He's tired of his life being strewn about in pieces. So he's just decided, he's gonna find his uncle. This will be his guardian, and then he can, after that, he can just do whatever he wants once he just gets his money, all his money when he's 21, isn't that the thing? Yeah.
So then he stops at a gas station on the outskirts of town, and there's a bank of slot machines alongside the wall when he went in to pay for his gas. I mean, you've been to Vegas. Do you get slot machines like in like petrol stations and stuff? Really? Wow.
Oh, yeah.
I guess this is true, but it just seems so wild.
Oh yeah, no, that's absolutely the case.
Wow. So yeah, the clerk behind the counter is quite out there for a Sweet Valley book.
She would be burned at the stake in Sweet Valley, truly. Now we don't actually know what she's actually wearing, but we can chat about her appearance because she has a shaved scalp, a tattooed face, and silver chains looping from her ears to her lips. So she's got quite the look going on. But apparently there's a dragon and bloody sword tattooed on her cheek.
Now, a facial tattoo in the 90s, that was pretty extreme. I will say that.
Yeah.
But then Devon sees his own reflection and snickers to himself. Basically, he's unshaven and he looks a bit tired. But he flinches at the gruesome reflection.
You know what? He actually will fit in quite well in Sweet Valley.
Yes, that's true.
My God, he's unshaven.
But then he snickers and thinks, I'm no prize either. You sure fucking aren't. And then he goes and gets a full shaving kit and shaves. Like, this guy hasn't had sleep for a week or whatever it is, but he's taking time to shave in a petrol station toilet.
Yep.
And then he's like, no, great, but at least not gruesome. Like, what is their definition of gruesome?
Purple hair.
No, yeah, that's true. Good point. Black lipstick or black nail varnish. So he buys a street map, goes back, buys a street map in Vegas, looks through the phone book for his uncle's name, and he's not there. And that was literally his only plan.
Pretty much, like, it's wild that he's literally turned up in Vegas and he's like, well, I guess I'll just find him. Like,
in a city, a large city.
Buddy, what is happening here? But yeah, so there was a Christmas card that he had found like in his dad's desk a couple of years ago or something, and it had been postmarked from Las Vegas. That is literally his only clue, or a bit of evidence that Pete even lives there. Like, he has no idea if he's even still in Vegas, but he rings up, is it like directory assistance? But he finds out that the number for Pete Whitelaw is unpublished. So at least that confirms that he's in Vegas somewhere, or odds are that he is.
Yeah.
If there is a number for him, but it isn't public. So that's something to go on. So Devon's like, I'll just have to comb the entire city. Like, okay, off you go.
Just madness. And his plan is just to check out the casinos one by one. And instead of going, before I start this deranged scheme, maybe I should check into a hotel and get some rest. No.
Sleep.
No. Get some food. Nothing. So he zooms off into the night. Now, you might think, maybe we'll get a little break, get back to Sweet Valley. No, we're stuck with this arsehole for even longer. He basically finds the Strip. He goes to the Luxor Hotel. There's no joy there, but the bartender has heard of Pete and is like, "Oh, is he in trouble again?" So yeah, Devon is a bit unsettled by this.
Yeah, that's true. So he continues his search. He moves on to the Excalibur. I did enjoy that these are actual hotels in Vegas.
Yes, even I knew that the Luxor and the Excalibur are real.
Yeah, so he's chatting to a dealer at one of the gaming tables in the Excalibur, and a woman apparently bursts out laughing and is like, "That snake is your uncle?" So this trashy broad starts talking to Devon, and he's like, do you know where I can find Pete? And she's like, "Well, I wish I did. I'm looking for him myself." But she just says that he's a very slippery man, and she gives Devon this up and down stare and goes, "You're a hunk." But she says, honey, you tell that snake uncle of yours that Della is looking for him too, and I'm still waiting for the 500 he owes me. So Devon is kind of building this picture of his uncle that, like, he's definitely the black sheep of the family, all right, because he doesn't seem to have the best reputation from what he's hearing from, like, bartenders and this, like, random woman at a blackjack table. But apparently it's, like, hours later, he's ready to give up for the night. He's dizzy from hunger and lack of sleep.
Why
Like,
haven't you eaten something, you fucking fool? Like, this is just stupid.
Why are you doing this? So he staggers into another hotel, the Starscape, which is not a Vegas hotel. This one is made up, and decides this is the last one he's going to check. So he asks if one of the waitresses in the casino know Pete. She gives him a non-committal smile and tells him to wait. And then a floor manager guy approaches him.
This bit is very weird.
So weird.
Like, I genuinely don't understand what is meant to be happening here. I don't know if any of this is just going over my head, but basically it's Mr. Benjamin, the floor manager, who asks him to step into his office, and like Devon is like, oh God, is Uncle Pete's so terrible that anybody even looking for him like starts getting questioned. But like he follows him back to the office rooms. This goes on for ages.
Yes.
And it's basically like, oh, the Starscape Hotel, security is important to us. Many of our patrons are celebrities or prominent members of the business community. And so I guess they don't like people poking around, but he says he's just looking for his uncle. And Benjamin is like, okay, well, describe him. And he's like, I can't. Don't know anything about him. But says he's his nephew and he's looking for him. And then Benjamin is like, step into the waiting room for a minute. And this goes on for ages. And then he takes him up to like this fancy room, and it's sort of implied that Pete, who apparently is known around town as like a dodgy character, is somehow held in such esteem at the Starscape that they're like, because initially I thought it was like he owes us 100 grand.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of where I thought this was going as well. But yeah, Benjamin brings him up like a private elevator up to this like private room basically in the hotel where there's a game of blackjack going on. And I guess that is the kind of thing that, like, yeah, they do with like high rollers or something if they just want a select few people playing at the table. But yeah, so Devon's kind of impressed by this, and he sees a man sitting at the table who has a square jaw and slate blue eyes, just like Devon does. So as he sees him, he's like, oh, that's my uncle, because there's just this massive uncle resemblance. So Ben goes over to Pete, for it is he, whispers in his ear. Pete looks over at Devon, excuses himself from the game, and Devon is just like, yeah, this is the guy, we're family. But Pete is quite cold with him. His voice is arctic, apparently. And he says, so you say you're my nephew? And Devon is like, okay, I'm not home yet, but at least I've found Pete. But yeah, this whole sequence was really odd, because when Benjamin brings him into the office and Devon's like, oh my God, have I done something illegal? In my head, I was like, yeah, dude, you're 17. You have to be 21 to be on the floor of the casino. But no, it was just like a really convoluted way for him to finally meet his uncle. And it makes no sense that Benjamin would do any of this.
Yeah. Glad that it wasn't just me.
Yeah,
being confused by this. So we cut to the casino restaurant, and Pete is a lot more friendly now because he's like, stay away from the seafood, because Chef Casey Ray is on duty this evening. And we're told he's like, it's a great cook, but, she has no sense of timing when it comes to fish. So Devon chuckles and is like, oh, I think you eat here often. And Pete reveals that he gets comped for all his meals there, because the casino, does everything possible to stop their regular customers from leaving, and a smart player can get all the complimentary meals and free show tickets he wants. Again, this doesn't square with the fact that Pete is somebody who people around town are like, he owes me $500.
Yeah, this is completely at odds with what we've learned from that lady Della and the bartender in the Luxor. Yeah. Because suddenly it's like, oh, Pete's this like really respected high roller who gets fucking comped show tickets all the time. Like, this doesn't really add up. But Devon is kind of impressed that like Pete is this like smart guy who's, gaming the system basically in Vegas. So Pete's kind of chatting to him about, well, he's like, I'm sorry about your parents, but like, how did you know where to find me? And when Devon just says family gossip, Pete's like, oh, okay. He's kind of impressed, but then starts grilling Devon for like details about the family to like prove that he's his nephew. Yeah.
And all you need to know is that they're super duper waspy.
Oh yeah.
But it turns out they've kind of told a bit of a tale, because apparently the money came from the fact that they're, Devon's great-great-grandfather was an abolitionist and moved his family north from Virginia. And Pete is like, oh, that's what they told you, huh? And I thought we were going to get, oh, fuck, they made money from they're going to dig into that. And I'd be like, do you know what? I'd be impressed if they acknowledged it. But no, it's basically that this old guy was the great-great-grandfather was just an opportunist who made a fortune selling substandard equipment to the US military. And then they made even more money during Prohibition from bootlegging and blackmail. And
they were bootleggers.
What do we mean, that saga?
I know.
But Pete, see, this is the thing. Pete's very likable.
He is. I like Pete. I know it's only the first half of the book, but so far I'm like, man, I'm kind of on board with Pete.
He's like a rogue and a dodgy dealer, but
100%.
He's got some charm, unlike his nephew.
Yeah.
But yeah, he says he was fed the same squeaky clean version as a kid, and then he discovered the truth. And when he did, it was like, he started saying this in a joking way. It was like finding out there's no Santa. And then of course Devon grits his teeth because he's got a fucking Santa sob story. I don't care. Don't care.
He got no presents on Christmas morning, but apparently when Nana was around, she'd make Christmas special, but then she took off and he grew up, he thought bitterly. But Devon is just absolutely insufferable.
Always. Sometimes he gets worse than ever. So yeah, he says that he can he wants to Pete says that Devon needs a real drink, and Devon is like, maybe in a few years because I'm only 17, and Pete's like, gotta get your fake ID.
When Devon says he's 17, Pete's like, well, that won't do. Got to get you a fake ID. Minimum age for casino gambling is 21. And Devon's like, oh, but isn't that illegal? And Pete's like, yes, and it truly pains me to break the law, but I have an obligation to uphold the white law tradition.
See, I kind of like that. I know it's bad, but
so do you, kid. And I'm sorry, I'm so taken in by Pete. I would absolutely 100% get scammed by this man.
And then have cocktails and be like, do you know what? Fucking worth it, Pete. Thanks.
Honestly, yeah, you'd be like, you know what? I got a good story out of it.
And then Pete raises his glass and says, to the old skeletons in the white law closet, may you and I join them someday. It's like, how do I like you, Pete? God damn it.
Like, how is this Devon's uncle? He's so charming.
Yeah, seriously. Jesus. The genes clearly just, went different ways over the generations. And Pete admits that he knew that Devon was his nephew as soon as he saw him. And one of the questions was a trick question, because one of the questions he said was like, what was your grandpa's nickname? And of course, he never had a nickname. Then Pete is like, look, you can stay with me for as long as you like. And Devon here, feels that he's being sincere, and he almost says why he's here, but then he remembers what happened in Ohio. So he's like, I'd love to, but I'm broke and I can't pay my way. And then Pete's like, I don't care. I wouldn't take that stupid family money. And I'm like, I kind of love you, Pete.
I know, yeah. He's like, I never needed the family or their money, and neither do you. So he's just really like, fuck the white laws. They all sucked. Let's just do our own thing. So he's like, the disinherited bad apples that fell off the white law tree have to stick together. And Devon's really surprised by this reaction. He's like, even, I can't pay my share. But yeah, Pete's just like, no, don't care about that. Like, we'll figure it out. And I don't know, man. Pete's cool. Pete
has won us over. He's the only good white law.
Honestly.
But then he stops in mid-sentence because he's looking at a tall, elegant woman with long dark hair and brown eyes. And she's beautiful, but not enough to startle a man like Pete. But then Pete insists that they leave. And as they do, Pete and the woman exchange a long glance. So Devon wonders why they don't exchange words. Well, we cut to the pool house where I guess Lila and Stephen are moving past the socks on or shoes on phase.
Shoes off, socks off.
Ooh.
Or do the socks stay on? Yeah, I mean, where are we exactly?
Well, I don't know what they're into. But Lila whispers that she wishes they could stay like this forever because, again, Stephen makes her feel safe. But he remembers the real reason she's there this evening. They've got to make some progress with the case. And he asks if Lila has any enemies. And then we learn about her, what I guess, hope. I don't know what the laws are around this in Sweet Valley. God knows, actually. But, I think in Europe, anyway, these will be multiple employment law infractions.
Oh, 100%. I mean, Like, yeah, Lila does not cover herself in glory here.
No, she does not.
Stephen is trying to figure out, he's like, look, we're trying to make a list of suspects. Do you have any enemies, basically? Anyone that wants to get back at you for something? And I made a point of mentioning that lady at the casino back along, because she said, tell him Della's looking for him. And one of the first people Lila mentions is Della Lurie, who would fall into that category. A maid that she recently had to fire. And I don't know if we're going anywhere with this, but I just wanted to point out that these ladies are both called Della.
I think it's just laziness.
Is it just bad editing?
There's a Dana later on. Like, come on.
Yeah.
I think it's just laziness.
Okay, so we're just giving them too much credit.
Yeah, I'm happy to be proved wrong, but I just, based on everything else.
Just the name Della is like not one that's ever come up in this series before, and now we suddenly have two Dellas within like 2 chapters. Is a bit weird. But anyway, apparently this Della is a maid that Lila recently had to fire because she caught her trying on her outfit of Lila's. She went to her parents. Oh no, the maid went to Lila's parents.
Pierre Jove! 5 years Jove!
That's a big fair. Oh, a Jove original.
But she's not the only person that Lila fired recently. Not by a long way.
Yeah, apparently some other woman called Greta was fired because the food she prepared was ghastly and Lila refused to eat it. There was another cook a while back too. He couldn't make anything without dumping in at least a ton of butter or bacon fat. You mean making things that taste nice?
I was going to say.
So yeah, she's just kind of listing off all these like people that worked in Fowler Crest that she had fired
recently. It's a dozen people.
It's bad.
But then I loved this. Stephen's like, anyone else? And she brings up Joan Borden, who nearly tricked her father into marrying her in Lila's story.
Yeah, really surprised by this. Like, I have to say, there is an impressive amount of callbacks in this book. But yeah, so we're kind of quickly recapped on Joan Borden and it was her daughter Jacqueline.
Yes.
That Lila broke up the engagement on that. Or like they were literally about to get married and Lila had this plan and there was like a planted microphone and the whole thing went tits up. So Lila got the better of Joan and her daughter. So she's like, maybe her because I did screw her out of, my dad's millions and millions. So that was another person for the list. But yeah, Stephen's really impressed. He's like, oh, this is a great lead. I'm going to check this woman out first thing tomorrow. So Lila's feeling quite reassured by Stephen. And I guess, the fact that he's taking all this seriously and trying to find suspects. Yeah. Lila kind of tries to distract him. Then she's like, oh, does this mean we're finished working? And he's like, no, we need to go through more suspects. So they move on to kids at school. Yeah. And Lila's like, well, there's a few students at SVH who don't like me. Enid Rollins, Bruce Patman.
There's no indication that they might be an arsonist. But then Stephen once, talks about boys, maybe an ex. And she's like, I can't remember any of them when you're around. But he's like, well, no, even just casual dates, you never know. So she lists a bunch of people, including John Pfeiffer. And Stephen is like, well, okay, we've got this. It's an impressive list. We have 5 pages of suspects. If I ever lived my life so that 5 pages of people would want to set my house on fire, I would be asking myself some questions.
Like, you'd really need to take a look at yourself at that point, wouldn't you?
But Lila's like, can't help it. Loads of people are just jealous of me. Oh. But then Stephen does say, okay, look, of all these people, do you think there's anyone capable is anyone truly vicious or crazy, like who was capable of violence? And then a shadow passes across Lila's face and Stephen knows, oh shit, okay, there's something going on there. And he urges her to tell him more.
Yeah, she shakes her head.
Well, we cut back to Vegas. So it's Pete's fancy gaff. It is pretty fancy.
It is, I mean, it's a very fancy apartment. It's got a balcony, like there's a bar in the living room. It's very swanky bachelor pad. There's an expensive stereo system. Like Devon is impressed, but so he's welcome in this house or this apartment. He can see the bright neon lights of the city from the balcony, and he's pretty happy, I think, just to be somewhere that he doesn't feel like he's getting a bad vibe from, at least immediately.
Yes.
But so Pete's like, look, make yourself at home. He does make a comment where, when Devon is admiring the view, he's like, you're looking at the best place in the world to make your mark. In fact, everywhere you look, there's a mark just waiting to be made, if you know what I mean. And Devon kind of frowns and thinks, oh, does this mean that Pete is, cheating people basically in Vegas and this is how he's making his money? And Pete's like, there's a sucker born every minute, but it's twice a minute in Vegas. It's like, yeah, Devon, I mean, you kind of knew he was going to be somehow a bit shady, at least, from his first interactions with people who knew him. But Pete is just very blasé about the whole thing. He's like, oh, don't let me take advantage of the little people. Oh, well, don't worry. I'm just a master card player. Got this calculator in my head. So Pete is also like amazing at maths and numbers and figures, just like Devon. So Pete's like, well, I'm going to get used to having you around, kid.
So I actually do know somebody who's someone I knew in college whose dad was a professional gambler, and they. Oh yeah, you know them.
I also know them.
You know his brother. Yeah, and so like this is we both. This is a thing, and their dad had a maths degree, and actually, if I remember right, like got Scholl in maths at Trinity, like was a serious, serious maths scholar. And used it to be a professional gambler and was doing pretty well.
Yeah, he was in Vegas, a serious dude. I feel like there's an amazing jacket somewhere that he got from like one of the casinos or something, like a gold made jacket. Oh, like I'm just like the sound of it. I'm like, I need to see it.
So this is definitely a thing. Like people who are genuine, serious math skills, just using that old probability to win big at the casinos. The why he still owes like trashy broads $500 is a bit of a mystery. But anyway, he does say, look, there's absolutely no way you can cheat at the casino. They've all got security cameras, but it doesn't matter because everything is carefully staged to pull in the average sap and convince him to loosen his purse strings. The bright lights make him feel adventurous, totally different from the man he is in his boring life. And then the meals, the restaurants, this sounds awful. They offer simple, inexpensive dishes like meatloaf and roast turkey, so Mr. Average won't feel intimidated because that makes him more likely to pour out his money. So, he's just like, you can, just look for the saps. And you'll
basically, he's like, you can make a fortune by developing winning instincts. And once your luck hits and you win a few bucks, there's plenty of places you can have fun spending it. And I do love, like, the longer we spend with Pete, the more he just morphs into an old-timey gangster. Yeah, he
does. Good humoured one, though.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Affable gangster. I'm all
for it. 100%. So
I feel like Pete's surely going to leave us down because we know that Devon's not here for the long haul. So I'm just like, I really hope this doesn't go so badly wrong that we end up hating him, because for now, I'm very much enjoying Pete.
He's the only thing worthwhile about Devon's storyline. I mean, which is otherwise appalling. Anyway, Devon says if he makes some money, he'll, help pay the rent and help with expenses. And Pete's like, I don't need a dime of Whitelaw money. He says, I have everything I want. But then he whispers, everything a guy could ever want. So, he then says to Devon, you don't believe me? I got it all, except for one thing. A woman. What else? So Devon is shocked by this revelation.
He is. He thinks surely Pete's hardly the type of guy that would have trouble with women. But Pete says, it's hard for me to believe it myself. I've always been a free spirit until I met Linda.
Yeah, they even talked about getting married, but he loves her. Yeah.
Yeah. So Devon is surprised to see this like softer side of Pete and asks what happened. But Pete doesn't really give too many details, just says, same old story. It's a cliche. Comedians do stand-up routines about this stuff in the clubs, but it's not funny when it happens to you.
And he's like, Linda's something else. Dark hair, big brown eyes, long, gorgeous legs. And Devon realizes that she was the woman that Pete, locked eyes with in the restaurant. Uh-huh. And apparently seeing her tonight nearly killed him. He never knew what he had till he lost her, because she's a class act. Then he says insanely, she'd probably go for a guy more like you. A child.
17-year-old. Come on. Give her a bit of credit.
Apparently she needs a guy who's refined, one of those modern, sensitive types.
Devon's like, that's what you think I am?
I mean, you're wrong there.
I know. Pete's so funny though, because he's like, oh, I'm right too. But don't you go getting any ideas about Linda or I'll bust your chops.
Then Pete's like, maybe you can help me get her back. We cut back to the pool house where Stephen's kind of gently pushing Lila because it's clear that she does know somebody who's capable of violence, but she doesn't want to admit it. Mm-hmm. And finally, she cracks when Stephen assures her that, she'll be safe. Yeah. So she basically revealed there's a lot of sort of the reassurance going on, and Lila is worried because she's worried that Stephen will blame her for what happened as other people did at the time, but she's finally reassured and she gives him the full John story, which we all remember. So we're not going to go into the details.
We don't need to rehash it. Yeah.
But just how she and another girl confronted him at a party or they confronted him at the Dairy Burger.
Yes. Yeah.
And he denied it, but he wasn't formally charged with anything, but he's been pretty much an outcast ever since. Now, we wish this were true, but it isn't.
No, I feel like this book kind of tries to explain away the fact that John still works for the Oracle, which I don't buy. But I do appreciate that they're kind of saying, oh, he's been an outcast ever since. I feel like it's more that the books in the meantime just weren't really factoring in what he did or something. Like it's weird. It's like the Bible kind of fell apart for a bit. Yeah. But it's like we're kind of more back on track now with how John should be treated by this school.
Yeah. So. Though I do think it's insane that he's still at the Oracle.
100%. I don't think, honestly, I feel like Roger Collins would be like, absolutely not. Get the fuck out.
Yeah. Or somebody would have told Mr. Collins.
Absolutely.
So of course, if they did, Mr. Collins would probably have said, well, really seriously brought up the topic of pressing charges, or at least go to the police, even if, because it was sort of never really taken seriously. It was just like, not that Lila would have to, and obviously the odds are low, but it was sort of seen as like there's no point at all, or, there's no point reporting it. But anyway, he's still at the Oracle, and Stephen says he might want revenge, but he vows to get to the bottom of it.
Yes.
Well, we cut back to Devon. Oh my God. Why are we spending so much time with him?
Anyway, just left him.
I know. Like, we have 5 seconds. Like a paragraph of notes. Tiny paragraph, like 6 lines of notes. He's waking up in his new gaff. He tries to rein in his hopes, but he thinks that as soon as he knows he can trust Pete, he'll name him as his legal guardian. And Pete is already up and about. And Devon says he should check out the local high school. And Peter's like, why? And Devon assumes it's because Pete doesn't want to stay long enough to go to school. But no! It's because Pete don't believe in no book learning.
Yeah, Pete slightly lost me here when he was just like, you don't need to go to school, it's fine. It's like, he does though, Pete. At least graduate high school and then, go from there. But yeah, Pete's just like, nope, you don't need it. Las Vegas is the best classroom in the world.
I will bet that Pete, like, as we have been confirmed, his brother and father went to Yale, probably got a fucking maths degree, and is now just like, yeah, whatever, you don't need it.
Yeah, definitely.
But Devon's like, yeah, you know what? Maybe I will, drop out of school 6 months before graduation, whatever year it's meant to be. So Pete says he can do whatever he wants, but he'll be fine either way. So he's not actually telling him he should drop out of school, but he's like, you know what? Up to you. Total freedom here. And Devon says his parents either controlled or ignored him, and Pete's like, typical white laws. So Devon is deeply touched.
Yeah, he just feels like, someone actually understands how it was for me. This is what family is all about. So he's starting to feel good about the situation. He kind of starts doing a little bit of cleaning up, and Pete's like, no, don't do that. I've got a cleaning lady. You're trying to take her out of a job.
He rather sweetly says he doesn't want to make her nervous about her job, which I thought was actually quite weirdly nice.
It is kind of, again, it's charming. But again, Devon offers or he's just kind of saying, are you sure you don't want me to just do something or help out with some expenses? But Pete insists that he just doesn't want his money. He doesn't want him making his cleaning lady nervous about her job. He says, look, I like having you around. That's enough. Aww. And Devon is warmed by this and kind of jokes about, well, maybe I can repay you by fixing you up with Linda. And Pete's like, I wish you could, but I'm afraid it's hopeless. So Devon kind of convinces him to not give up on Linda, basically.
Yeah.
And Yeah, so he just thinks, look, maybe there's something we can do.
Yes. And it turns out that Pete bought her a fancy gift, but he knows that she'd turn it down if he offered it to her. And if he'd sent it through the post, she'd throw it in the trash. And then he's like, but maybe you could give it to her if you just, like, I don't know, see her in the street or whatever. But, I mean, apparently that's what happens in this large city. So Devon vows to help Pete.
Yeah.
You might think we'd move back to Sweet Valley. No. We're in the casino where Devon is now betting.
Yeah, I guess, he got his fake ID at this stage, I think.
He did, yeah.
He did, yeah. So he's all set. He's down on the casino floor. It's early afternoon, but that makes no difference in Vegas because you just don't know what time of day it is when you're in a casino, which is all part of it. But so he's just he's playing at a craps table, I think, and he's on a bit of a lucky roll.
He's betting on the players, so he's not playing himself.
That's right. Yes, of course, because he can't be up to shenanigans at the actual casino table.
Yeah. So it's tacky but thrilling, he thinks, and he loves it. So it turns out Pete's off in a private high stakes game. So Devon is alone in the casino, and you can see how you can become addicted to it. And then a sort of brassy broad, of which there are many, is like, my money's on you. Would you like me to kiss the dice for luck? And she's not like the immature schoolgirls who flirted with him back in Connecticut. So he curves his arm around the woman's bare shoulders and is like, that would be a total waste because the dice would depreciate it. But I would. And then he kisses her, this gross woman. And then takes her business card.
Yeah.
What kind of business card does this woman have?
I think it's a very particular kind of business that she's in.
I think you're right. But then he sees another classy broad, Linda. She's on the slots.
She is. She's on the slots. She's in her fancy little outfit. She has the elegant beauty of a fashion model, apparently. Okay. But Devon notes that she doesn't seem particularly like open and friendly. Like she's got a cool expression on her face, and he kind of worries that she'll just tell him to get lost if he tries to approach her. But he doesn't want to bail out already. So when he sees that Linda is getting up and leaving, he decides to follow her.
Yeah, he does. Okay. Well, we cut to Stephen. He's investigated all the people that Lila fired, but they all have alibis, and Joan Borden is out of the country. Partly after George Fowler dumped her, she married a man from Texas with a vast fortune and divorced him for a Spanish shipping tycoon. So she's off in España.
She is, absolutely. There's the high roller. Like she is having the time of her life, it sounds like.
So Mr. Garrison is looking at him suspiciously, so he needs to come up with a viable theory to thwart him, and he vows to investigate John. So after work, he confronts Liz and tells her that he knows about John Pfeiffer, and Liz is like, yeah, it was a really big shock. He always seemed like such a quiet, serious guy, and loads of people thought he was lying, but then this other girl, Susan Weiler, backed her up. But obviously no one pressed charges because they didn't have any proof. And Stephen is rightly enraged that John got away with assault and attempted rape twice. And Liz is like, yeah, no, but he did get confronted in the Dairy Burger.
Fuck off, Liz. Liz really
Liz is
pisses
awful
me
in
off.
this scene, isn't she?
Yeah, no, this part of the book, Liz is an absolute fucking disaster.
Oh my God, she's terrible. Because it's basically like his punishment was the sort of thing that has happened to, even Bruce Patman getting pushed into the fountain at Guido's. Like, we're told he's an outcast, but he's still the sports editor of the school paper.
Yeah, which I don't buy. Like, if you're the sports editor, you're out and about, you're talking to people, you're doing your interviews and your coverage and you're at the games. Like, if he was actually an outcast, nobody would want to be fucking next or near that prick. And that's what should be happening.
It should. So yeah, Stephen's like, what do you think of the guy personally? And Liz is like, well, it's weird, but he was a good friend of mine, and I was worried that Lila was going to hurt him when they got together. But now I wouldn't want to be alone with him in a dark alley, and I make a point not to be alone with him in the Oracle office, which is hard since he spent so much time there working up information on the computer.
Ooh.
And I love Stephen's reaction, is so funny. Like, he literally stiffens and is like, looking up information on the computer? You mean surfing the net?
Capital N.
Because maybe he could have printed out a web page about arsonists.
Oh, and Liz confirms he gets a lot of material for his articles from the sports sites on the web.
Capital W.
So Stephen says he's going to drop by the Oracle office and check some things out. So yeah, and again, just the point that Liz made there, that she doesn't like to be, or she tries not to be alone in the office with John. I just don't feel like Mr. Collins would not notice that, like, his, the female members of staff in the Oracle don't want to be on their own with this guy. I don't buy this as the Oracle environment at all.
No, or like Mr. Collins would not let this go
he
on.
just wouldn't.
And I don't think the girls would. Like Olivia and Penny and
Olivia. No, they'd be like,
or not Enid, but yeah.
But yeah, they would be like, no, this guy has got to go. Like, we're not comfortable with him in this fucking office. But anyway, this is where we are. I suppose they can't pretend like he's suddenly gotten the sack from the Oracle when it's been mentioned that he's there this whole time.
No, true.
But he's going to be away at a big track meet after school tomorrow. So that's going to be a good time to snoop around the office.
Yes, so Stephen's going to investigate. But then Liz is like, but remember, John isn't officially guilty of anything. Like, fuck off, Liz. My God. She's not like, you want to keep an open mind. Remain objective. And Stephen's like, I'm sorry, I am keeping an open mind. I have to check out possible leads in this case. This is someone who was something against Lila. Mm-hmm. And Liz is like, how well do you really know Lila? And Stephen is completely sensible in this scene. I have to give him that. Because he's like, you can't really believe Lila is an arsonist. And Liz is like, no, but like, she's not right for you, Stephen.
Such a little bitch. She's like, people can surprise you, and she might not be exactly the person you think she is. And then she's like, Stephen, can't you see how perfect you and Billy were together and how wrong you and Lila are? And obviously Stephen is like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, this has got absolutely nothing to do with anything. Like, why are you throwing Billy in my face now at all times? And Liz is just really annoying and patronizing and like, I'm just so concerned for you. And Stephen's right to be fuming with her like right now, because she is being a pain in the hole.
She's insufferable, because he says, like, I'm trying to solve a criminal case. There's an insane pyromaniac loose in Sweet Valley, and you're giving me advice about my love life. Like, I can't believe I'm saying this, but well said, Stephen.
It's in an absolute shock twist. Stephen is correct and having the right reaction to something.
So he stomps off. And he's determined to solve the case for Lila, but also for his own secret doubts. And then we cut to Devon. This goes on for so long. He basically follows Linda out of the hotel, though briefly gets blocked by a crowd of senior citizens. And then he jaywalks across the street, smiling slowly. And then he nearly gets run over, if only. Goes in another hotel, gets in a lift. And then she's like, why are you following me?
Yeah.
And like, this goes on for pages and pages.
It does. It goes on for so long. But in fairness to Linda, as soon as they're alone in the lift, she's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why are you stalking me? So he's like, oh, I didn't mean to scare you. And he says who he is. He says, look, Pete is my uncle. And Linda couldn't give a fuck. She's like, well, then you have my condolences. She doesn't want to know why he's here. She doesn't want anything to do with him. She gets out of the lift at like the penthouse floor. And he kind of calls for her as she's like walking away to this hotel, or the door of the suite or whatever. Like, she goes to open it. She's like, go away, tell your uncle to do the same. And Devon is like, no, but you don't understand. So he says, look, Pete sent me to tell you he really misses you and he still cares about you a lot. But Linda's just not having it. She's like, well, your uncle cares for nobody but himself. That's a warning to you. But Devon takes out this little wrapped box that whatever gift it is that Pete had for her and says, look, he asked me to give you this. He was afraid you wouldn't accept it if he gave it to you in person. And Linda's like, yeah, I don't want it. And why should I accept it from you? But she does eventually take the box. So Devon is relieved because, at least he's not coming back empty-handed to Pete. So when she opens it, it's a blue velvet jewelry case.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's like, oh, great, something shiny and expensive, no doubt. But yeah, she's just like, does Pete think this little trinket is going to fix everything between us? Like, she is very unimpressed by this whole thing, has no interest in this gift. Says that, like, look, Pete's had loads of second chances. When you see your uncle, tell him money can't buy love.
And Devon's like, don't I know it? But it's like, at least you consider talking to him. And she says, yeah, I'll consider it. See you around. And then when she closes the door, Devon mutters, women. I hate him so much. I hate him. Oh,
I wish he'd gotten squished by a car when he was running across the road.
God, put us all out of our misery. And then he's like, but maybe things will go right with Linda and I'll have a new aunt and then some baby cousins. It's like, okay.
Fuck off, Devon.
That's literally what my notes say.
He's just awful.
Well, we're not rid of him yet.
Oh, God, we're still stuck with him.
We cut to him. He's back in the casino. He's living his life. You could get used to this real easy. And he meets Pete at the bar of the Starscape. And he tries to he sort of tells Pete how it went, but he, tones it down a bit. Pete is really weird. It's all like, what was she wearing? Oh, yes, that outfit was amazing. And it's basically all a setup for Devon to reveal she was wearing some like cheap turquoise bracelet that they bought together at a craft fair. So she's, clearly more sentimental than bling. And Pete is shocked when he learns that Linda basically thought that his gift was trying to buy her. And then Devon imagines how he'd woo his dream girl. As my notes say, ugh, I don't care.
Well, I'm sure we're going to read all about it when he eventually fucking meets Liz, because
I know.
He just wants someone who would, a girl he could love, one who would love him in return for himself, not his money. She'd have to be intelligent, kind, someone he could relax with. He thinks about how upset he'd be if he found this dream girl and then lost her. What if we got in a big fight and she refused to see me like Linda and Pete? Just thinking about it made Devon ache as if a sharp knife was stabbing his heart. Like, Devon, you just made up a girlfriend and now you've gotten upset about hypothetically losing her. Shut up.
He's like, so what would you do if you had lost this dream girl? And he's like, I'd make her understand if I felt it, write her poems, into flowers, balloons, funny cards, singing telegrams. And Pete grins and is like, you'd turn into a sap. That's wimp stuff. Devon's like, but it works. Like, he knows. So Pete isn't impressed. It's not his style. And Devon's like, change your style. And Pete's like, well, maybe I could throw in some sentimental garbage with a bling. This goes on for ages, and Devon feels it's a lot of responsibility to be looking after his uncle's love life, but Pete says Devon has sort of given him fresh hope and made him feel like he has another chance. Again, my notes say, Devon is deeply moved. I don't care. I've written, I don't care like 3 times in this paragraph. Because I don't.
I know. It's like I do want to see what's going on with Pete, but I just couldn't give a fuck about Devon.
And then we get a scene that again goes on for way too long. Pete fancies a classy dinner. So they head to a North African restaurant. I'm glad to see them branching out with a very delicious cuisine.
Absolutely unprecedented to see North African cuisine mentioned in a Sweet Valley High book.
Shocked. Pete refuses to let Devon pay for the cab, and Devon realizes his income really does all come from gambling. The place is all fancy. It smells amazing. You might believe he was in Morocco or Tangier, apart from the slot machines. Wow. That's what you want in a classy restaurant. So there's a woman marking off the reservations on a table and answering the wall phone beside her. And like, there's loads of people. And of course, Pete doesn't have a reservation. There's people queuing, like hoping to get a table. They look like they've been queuing for ages. But Pete says, that's no problem. And he takes a wager.
Yeah, he says $20, says we'll have the best table in the house within 10 minutes. And Devon is like, okay, there's absolutely no way that's going to happen. Let's make it 30. So Pete just winks at him. He's like, now you may learn something, watch closely, but we have to wait for the right moment. So Pete's kind of watching the maitre d' chat with this woman on the reservation stand, then goes up to talk to her. And he's real friendly. And he's like, Dana, how are you? It's been a while. You got your haircut, didn't you? And he's all charming with this lady. So he introduces himself, shakes her hand, and asks if Ibrahim is around this evening. And like, Devon's watching all this and he's like, what is going on? But he's told that Mr. Filali is not on the premises this evening. So Pete's like, oh, that's too bad. You know, we've been talking about getting together for years and I didn't make a reservation because I wanted to surprise him. So Devon is just kind of watching all this unfold, like, what is going on?
Yeah.
But the maitre d' apologizes on behalf of Ibrahim, whoever he is, Devon thinks, and invites Pete to stay for dinner. Less than a minute later, Devon and his uncle were led to the restaurant's VIP garden room. So yeah, he wins the bet and Devon has to hand over his $30.
Yeah, because Pete's an amazing scam artiste, essentially.
Yeah, honestly, he's a top-notch grifter.
He really is. Devon's like, why did you say you knew all those people? And he's like, well, but I didn't. We figured out Dana, the girl at reception's name, and even figured out that she got her hair cut, so we could, because the way she was twiddling it with her hair, so we could make a compliment on, or make the remark about, did you get your hair cut since I saw you last? He knew what the owner's name was because it's written on the door. He knows there's a danger of his bluff being called, but he figures it's always worth a shot. He also says that even if the owner had been there, he'd have ended up at the table because the owner wouldn't have turned him away. I find that hard to believe. If an owner of an in-demand restaurant where there's a giant queue of people trying to get tables.
Yeah, that was the one bit that didn't ring true, but the rest of it is just Pete using his powers of observation, basically, to blag his way into this fancy table. Yeah. So, he's a real character. He's a chancer. I like him.
I know, he's a charmer. So yeah, Devon is a bit freaked out by all this lying, but he thinks about the fact he isn't the most honest person on earth either. He's still lying to his uncle about the will, and he almost tells him, he's like, there's something we need to talk about, and Pete's like, yeah, are we hungry enough to go for the 7-course chef special, or do we go a la carte? But Devon decides there's a chance Pete won't take the lie well, and he doesn't want to ruin things between them so soon. So the truth will have to wait. And so will all of us, because that is the end of Too Hot to Handle Part 2.
Part 1.
Oh, Part 1. God damn it. Seriously, my brain is melted from all that time.
It just feels like
White Claw.
That's it. We spent so much time with Devon. It feels like it's already been a full book.
Oh, it feels like about 5 fucking years. Well, I know we have outbits. Can you share them?
Oh boy, yes, I can. Okay, let me see. Let me see what was the first one. Oh yes, so we had when back in SVH when they're at school and Jessica drags Lila away after history class to talk to her. She she grabs the sleeve of Lila's white cotton blouse, and Lila's not in her right mind because why is she wearing cotton? Why is that not a silk blouse?
I was thinking that.
Something is very much off here.
Very much so.
Things are not as they should be. So at the Excalibur Hotel, when Devon is questioning this trashy broad Della, she's dressed in red spandex and tons of jewellery. She could have just as easily been in her early 20s as her late 50s. It was hard to tell with all the makeup plastered on her face. I kind of like Della, man. Good for her.
It does remind me of people who've had that certain look with Botox and fillers where you genuinely cannot tell if they're 23 or 60.
Yeah.
Ahead of her time, Della.
There you go. Yeah.
Ahead of her time.
Mr. Benjamin, the floor manager that approaches Devon in the Starscape Hotel, is wearing a blue velvet jacket, which is wonderfully Vegas.
Smoking jacket, I'm picturing it.
Pete, when we meet him first, he sits down with Devon. He is wearing a pinstriped silk suit.
Hell yes.
Straight away I'm in. Diamond cufflinks and a gold watch.
Oh, yes.
I just think he's great. I really hope he doesn't leave us down, but I know he's going to. I just know he is.
Or maybe he'll die.
Maybe
he is an old-timey gangster and he'll get shot.
Some bad debts are going to get called in or something.
Oh, no.
Oh, man. Pete, no. We learned that maid that Lila had fired.
Oh, yeah.
The Pierre Jovet outfit that she was trying on was a satin tunic.
Right. Who the fuck was wearing tunics in 1997? There's a lot of references to tunics in these. I mean, this does back up my theory that these books were written by men who didn't know much about women's clothes. But anyway.
Definitely. So Devon, with his newly minted fake ID, is working the tables at the casino. He's wearing a dark blue 3-piece Armani suit that he borrowed from his uncle because he needs to project a glitzy, suave image. But incredibly, the guy who is actually at the craps table that Devon is betting on is an elderly man dressed in a pale blue polyester leisure suit that was probably from the late 1970s. And I'm obsessed.
It's the Parisian night suit from Freaks and Geeks.
It's unbelievable. Now, to me, it was just like, it's Bob Fossil. Like, that's...
Oh! Little blue boy. You don't like cricket. He loves it.
He loves it. The woman that gives Devon her business card at the table, she has huge red lips and she's wearing a strapless silver dress.
That sounds pretty good luck to me.
I know. And then Linda, I think, was the last outfit. So, yes, when Devon spots her by the slot machines, being all classy and aloof, she's wearing a short black leather skirt and belted jacket, which is also black leather and like tailored, that shows off her curvy shape and fantastic legs. So it sounds a bit secret agenty or something. Like
doesn't it?
Belted leather blazer with like her black leather skirt. So that's her cool girl outfit when Devon is chasing her around the strip.
What an outfit it is. It seems very seasonal considering how hot it is.
That's true. We're not sure. We don't really know what time of year it is, do we?
That's true. But I'm figuring the weather would be pretty hot.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. Like when we were there in March and April, got cool enough.
Oh, really? Okay. I guess deserts get cool at night.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's quite an array of outfits.
And that's just the first part of the book. So who knows what's in store for us?
More jumpsuits, I hope.
Hopefully.
Listeners, what did you think of part 1 of Too Hot to Handle? Do you hate Devon as much as we do? I mean, I don't think you can because you don't have to spend much time with him. And like, we really hate him.
That's true. We are trying to abridge him as much as possible. But honestly, thank God for Pete, or else like the Devon stuff would be truly unbearable.
Seriously. He's the only redeeming feature in the whole Devon storyline, which takes up so much of this book. It's actually shocking.
Yeah, like he really is the main character of this book, and the whole Lila case is kind of the B plot, which is weird.
It is. And actually, this is the first time since the Randomer era that we've had a book that the main character isn't the twins. You know what I mean? True. Like it's we used to have that a lot more often in like Tennis Girl days, but you know, it's been a while since we've had spent so much time in the head of somebody who wasn't at least in the core gang.
True, yeah.
But yeah, let us know what you thought, listeners, because we always love hearing from you. You know where to find us. We are on all social media at SVH Podcast.
Yes, you can send us an email at svhpodcast@gmail.com. And actually, we did get an email I just want to mention before we move on to Instagram, and I completely forget, because Sarah Wise emailed us. She found the podcast a couple of months ago and has just been kind of blitzing through the episode since then. But she has a question about some of the cheers that the SVH cheerleaders do. So her eldest plays football, American football. And as she puts it, being a generally ridiculous human, when he plays, I'm surrounded by all of these intense parents with knowledge of the game. And I have more than once screamed out, 2nd and 10, that's our Ken. See him score, there will be more. I swear this was an actual SVH cheer, maybe when Jess was into Ken. It's so firmly imprinted on my brain. I was hoping my inner world would be validated. Is there any way for you guys to verify? I know you're already 6 years into the future from this episode that she was listening to at the time of writing, which has triggered me so intensely. Is there any way you can search for this cheer? I want to say it was early days, could be as early as Sweet Valley Twins. Were there even cheerleaders then, or just boosters and unicorns? So I thought we might crowdsource this one because I know that listeners are much better at remembering stuff.
They are. They are. We've had to spend too much time on each one. It like pushes some more information of the previous ones out of our heads.
Exactly. Yeah. So this cheer is 2nd and 10. That's our Ken. See him score. There will be more.
That
like
sounds familiar.
It's so familiar. I feel like either maybe it just hasn't come up yet in the episodes that Sarah's listening to, or I don't know, but that really does ring a bell for me. So maybe the listeners can chime in. But yeah, I felt like crowdsourcing was the way to go for this one because I just, at the top of my head, could not think.
Same. Well, listeners, you had a lot to say about the last one. And in fact, Cressida kicked us off with some fascinating information about the cover shoot, which was an all-time classic.
Oh my God. Like, not only was that cover shoot so amazing, we now get the like behind the scenes stuff, which like I'm always down for some bonus features.
I love this. So she says it took place on the glass cover of my oven hob. My child are not Spanish. Lila is a Barbie that she bought with her pocket money in Italy. No, in Rimini, no less. Not even kidding. No countess in sight. Oh, wow. Our local chipper when I was growing up was called the Wimini because there's a lot of Italian chippers in Ireland and that's where the owners were from. And when Italy won the World Cup in the 80s, they gave out free chips all night.
Oh my God.
That night went down in history in our suburb.
Wow. That's some great local folklore.
Yes. So, the Cressida chose this doll because she had dark hair and brown eyes, and I'd only ever seen blonde Barbies at this point. It was the early 80s. She named her Sabrina after a character in a Philippa Carr book. Philippa Carr is also Victoria Holt and Jean Plaidy, for those who know. In other words, Barbara Core! Taylor's Invisible Strings. I've got nothing on the SV universe. Sabrina's the only doll I kept into adulthood, and I still have all her Italian clothes and accessories. Oh my God. Except, most regrettably, her black lace shawl.
Oh.
I want more of Sabrina. Let her come back and be Lila again, hopefully.
I think the next American book cover will see us right. We'll get another Sabrina, hopefully.
Oh, yeah. She did actually say also the photo cover for the next SVH book is boring, so please lower your expectations on this particular occasion. Steffi Barra, 17, said, Victoria Holt is so Barbara Core. I'm a Jean Plaidy girl myself. She had so many pen names. She really did. So Victoria Holt is sort of like the gothic version, and Jean Plaidy are the historical books based on real historical figures. I remember reading, like they had her in my school library when I was a teenager, and like reading her book about Marie Antoinette and like Catherine de Medici poisoning people and stuff.
Oh, wow.
Kind of amazing. But yeah, if you look for Google image search Victoria Holt original book covers for some full-on Barbara Core.
Yeah.
Girls in long floaty dresses running away from houses.
Running away from castles. Yeah. I do feel like we've probably shared some of those book covers before as Barbara Core on the Instagram, because that is a very particular genre of book cover, and they're all gorgeous as well.
They're amazing. That's if I see one of those things at a charity shop to this day, I am snatching it up.
Bagsy.
Love this from Bobbins and Buttons. Jessica making a hand-found photo album. Fair enough. Elizabeth chiming that she's going to make one too. Love, your photos are all framed, probably professionally by the framing shop. And another huge part of the Valley Mall.
Amazing. There was loads of love, and quite rightly so, for Cressida's version of the last book cover. A lot of that is just applause for Cressida.
Rightly so.
A lot of people pointing out that it was Claire PH actually said, we're all agreed that the ghostwriter said oysters, but was thinking lobsters, right? And then somebody else, I think it was Plucky Insolence, said, I suspect they were eating mussels. Even though I haven't seen people wear bibs while eating mussels, they're sometimes served with bread and broth, which can create a splashy mess. Like Karen, I'm not interested in shellfish, but having sat across from people eating mussels, I've accidentally received a few surprise splashes of broth.
I do love mussels. And mussels in like a nice garlicky, creamy bowl is delicious. They can be a bit messy, which is why they usually give you in Ireland anyway, like a little bowl with, water to wash your hands with, a little towel. But yeah, I've never seen them now, definitely wouldn't be getting them with a bib, but I think everyone's right. They're thinking lobster. They're not thinking oysters. Yeah,
well, Kay did said you're stuck on the oyster eating of it all. I'm stuck here on the digging for oysters because that's not oysters. That's clams. Oysters, like mussels, which I agree with Claire PH, are much closer to what they're describing in the restaurant scene than actual oysters attached to rocks and grow there.
Yes, they do. You can see them. Not the oysters so much, but mussels you see all over the east coast of Ireland.
So a lot of people were just kind of trying to figure out what the fuck they were actually eating, because the oyster stuff just made no sense. Like, obviously, you don't dig for them. It just didn't. None of it rang true. So it was some kind of awful mess of food, basically, that I'm not going to spend any more time thinking about.
No, you can't traumatize Karen too much.
Please.
Lucky Insolence got the tag yourself going. Tag your suspect. Oh, sorry, this is a separate tag yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Tag your suspect. I'm Venice Fowler, tired of living secretly in the basement of Fowler Crest. I'm ready to step into the spotlight and claim my rightful place as the Fowler heir. Burn, Lila, burn!
Venice Fowler. You know what? That would be the twist of the century.
Seriously. Bring me in Venice.
She's real. Pippi Ann Shirley said, I'm Sailor Snake's saucy sister Scuba. So, of course, Sailor Snake was the snake that Bruce willfully murdered in Death Valley. I just put a little sailor hat on him at one point for some merch in honor of Ken's sailor hat.
Delightful.
So, so this is Pippi and Shirley's take on the situation. So the saucy sister, Scuba, of the murdered snake. I have avenged the horrifying death of my fellow hatchling. Took a long time to slither all the way here from Death Valley, but now Sailor's murderer is engulfed in flames. Wait, that was the wrong house? Ah, nuts. All palatial mansions look the same to me.
Patman Towers dodged a firestorm. Sister Betty Confetti said, I'm Stephen Wakefield, starting a fire with the Fowler Mansion, so I have something to investigate my dumb internship. It's only a happy accident that I made my sister's inappropriately young but devastatingly attractive in a flat-face kind of way best friend, all vulnerable and sad, just when I am nursing a broken heart. Oh, and here's another good one, also from Sister Betty Confetti. Now, I would love if this turned out to be the case.
Ooh.
I am Pierre, Grace Fowler's absurd French boyfriend from when she first returned to Sweet Valley. This is written phonetically. I have been living in the woods on the Fowler estate, biding my time, until I could take revenge on the evil teenage girls that ruined my chance with the sublime Grace. That would be good, because they haven't mentioned
That would be... Oh, that's right, yeah.
I love this from Jen B. Skills, because we might remember that one of George Fowler's associates was essentially Helmut Kohl. Jen B. Skills said, no one ever suspects the German Chancellor. It's the perfect crime, yeah? It would be. It really would. And I love this from Knee Jerky, but like, we got a surprise this week.
Oh, wow. Yes, Knee Jerky said, I'm Cara Walker, but don't waste any time suspecting me. I'm happier here in the strange liminal space of the Pascalian cast-offs than I ever was in that unhinged little town. Jeffrey French and Princess Lawrence and I are starting a band.
Oh, that I'd love to see.
So good.
Love this from Marty McFly, VA. I'm Margot. Yes, I know I'm dead. Somehow it's still me.
I believe it. Maria Teresa Biblioteca said, I'm a librarian at Sweet Valley University, shaking my head with despair over the fact that Stephen Wakefield skipped my information literacy for pre-law majors workshop. That little shit had the nerve to tell me my dad is an expert in teddy bear law. I don't need this workshop. So now this absolute dipshit thinks some random website about arsonists qualifies as an appropriate, credible source for professional research. Don't blame me, guys. I tried.
I like this from OTW Nostalgia. I'm Georgia Grace Fowler. Due to some extremely unwise, some might say even legal investments, we've been forced to burn the house down for the insurance money. What's that? Our daughter was inside? Oh well, we took a life insurance policy out on her years ago. Or possibly last week. Who the fuck can tell in this time-forsaken town? Oh, from Libby Grant. This is... I'm Mr. Collins with traces of sulphur on my fingers and the smell of gasoline clinging to my shirt. It's always the ones you least expect.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, and last night a little dancer came up with a good theory that would fit in with the long-standing Sweet Valley lore.
This would work. I'm Hank Patman. I never got over losing my rose garden plans to those pesky high school kids. Fowler Crest is a nouveau riche eyesore. It would look so much better as a rose garden.
Was that the playing field he was going to turn into a rose garden?
I think so.
That is a deep cut.
It really is.
Oh my God, they're all so good. Yeah, there's we also heard from VA Baby 78 who said, oh my God, I just started to listen to you guys last month and I'm caught up. Am I okay? Doubtful. Am I a little disturbed? I did 10 years in under 2 months. Maybe a tad. Am I enjoying the ride? Definitely. Well, if you're still capable of I don't know, comprehending language after listening to 10 years of us in a very short period of time, we're delighted you're still here. Welcome, VA Baby 78.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us. I'm always slightly concerned when people like just mainline that much of the podcast in such a short space of time. I feel like that just can't be good for you.
Read the ice rink that miraculously appeared. LCBDZ said, the shady lady was next to the Dairy Burger, but with Betsy Martin at art school, Margot dead, and Rick Andover probably in prison, it probably got turned into an ice rink and renamed the Skatey Lady. Wow. I mean, we haven't heard of the Shady Lady in a very long time, I feel.
Oh, it's been so long. That really just was a different era altogether, wasn't it?
It really was.
Kelly's Roadhouse too. Yeah.
Yeah. Where are they?
Mm.
Courtney K. Ski said she is a hockey mom and she has an American who has lived in multiple smaller suburban towns like I picture Sweet Valley to be. She can't imagine how an ice rink is fitting in a downtown. Ice rinks usually have a large footprint and small suburban towns usually have lots of smaller buildings close together. It would make more sense to have the rink by the mall. Now I want a map of Sweet Valley. Oh my God. I would love a map of Sweet Valley. Like, I can't believe they never did it. Or did they? Maybe it's some special thing.
Oh, God. I feel like maybe on the... Oh, I can't remember now if I'm making this up and they're just too far away for me to grab to check. But I feel like on the back of the doll boxes, there might be maybe not really a map, but a bit of a landscape of Sweet Valley. I'm not sure if it makes any sense. I'll have to check after this. And if there is one, I'll put up a picture.
Oh, intriguing. Well, listeners, thank you so much for getting in touch. We always absolutely love hearing from you. We really appreciate it. Again, I'd like to thank everybody who has bought Love Scene so far and posted about it and given it has told me you've given it the old 5 stars somewhere I cannot go and check, and I never will.
It's best that you don't.
Best that I don't. But I do appreciate you doing it. So thank you so much. And it is still available. You can order it at bookshop.org if you want to order it through an indie bookshop in the UK, and it should be available at pretty much every bookshop in Ireland, hopefully. So thank you so much to everybody who's bought it. If you're in North America, sorry, no American publishers want it, but for now. But hopefully someday, and you can order it from kennys.ie, who are an amazing independent Irish bookshop, which if you're in Ireland, you should be using them anyway. So yes, very much appreciate that. And we also very much appreciate everybody who joins us in the clubhouse for Pi Beta Alpha meetings every fortnight. And if you would like to be one of them, you could become so by signing up to HeadStuff Plus.
Yes, so if you head over to headstuffpodcast.com, you get access to all our lovely, juicy bonus content, which is now there's 4 series of us chatting about this Sweet Valley High TV show, which we just got so attached to. I'm still so surprised that it just won us over so quickly. But lately we've been digging into to the Caitlin series, which is tremendous fun. These books are absolutely bonkers. We've no idea what's coming. At the minute, there's a mountain boy who's in college and swearing revenge on Caitlin. We feel like his vengeance might be slightly misplaced, but we are along for the ride and having a great time. So do join us there if you can.
Oh, please do. We are enjoying it so much, but we won't be back in the clubhouse for we're taking a little time off as we warned the PBA siblings last week, because Karen is heading off to sunnier climes. So this does sometimes happen in holiday season.
That's the thing. It's my turn to mess with the schedule now, so I'm afraid we'll have so there's no episode next week. The week after that, we'll be back with Caitlin. So then in 3 weeks' time, we'll be back with Too Hot to Handle Part 2. So it won't be too long to wait. But that's just the way it is at this time of year sometimes.
I know. And we do appreciate your patience. And, you can always go back and re-listen and figure out where that Ken cheer came from. I mean, there's only nearly 200 episodes to choose from.
I don't know where you'd even start trying to search for something like that. But again, some of you have such incredible memories. You might be like, yes, that was actually the cheer that they came up with in book 125.
Seriously, we appreciate your
Honestly,
skills.
Yeah, no, it's really impressive and it's extremely helpful as well. So thank you. And we do appreciate you all so much. Thank you so much.
We really do. And if you want to kill the time while you're waiting for new episodes, there's always, the PBA backlist if you're not a member already. So that'll keep you going for quite some time as well. There are many episodes at this stage. There's 4 seasons of the TV series. Yep. There's 4 and a bit books of Caitlin, and we just do them 4 chapters at a time. So each book is divvied up into, much longer period.
It's about about 5 episodes per book in or about, I think, really, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a lot going on. So we will see you, Pi Beta Alpha siblings, back in the clubhouse in 2 weeks' time when we find out what happens when a mountain medicine boy, Julian/Jake Stokes, begins his plan of revenge on Caitlin in Promises Broken. But we will see all of you back here in the main feed in 3 weeks' time when we find out what happens when hopefully Devon does go jaywalking and get hit by a car, and fingers crossed that Stephen and Lila's raging STDs do not become too hot to handle. See you then, everybody.
Oh boy, thanks for listening.
Bye.
This show is part of the HeadStuff Podcast Network, a hub for the creative and the curious. Shows are produced in association with HeadStuff and the Podcast Studios Dublin. Find out more or become a member at headstuffpodcasts.com.